I'd like to call the August Poquoson City School Board meeting to order. First order of business is pledge to the flag. Please stand. Do you have any additions, modifications to the agenda?
Yes, what we're going to do is recognize our schools for the Board of Education at our September meeting, so we are pulling that from the agenda, and we'll move to, under recognitions, item B.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to invite our President and Secretary to come forward. I suspect you're going to need to come forward as well.
Okay.
I just want to say to this community how absolutely blessed we are to live here and to have such supportive people, loyal, for the community to trust us as much as they do with the contributions and donations that they provide the Poquoson Education Foundation, that we give right back to the school system, is just incredible. We appreciate it more than you know, and we have fun in the process. It's a lot of work, but for us to be able to present to Poquoson City Public Schools tonight a check for $5,000, which is part of our hard work that we do for fundraising, to assist with upgrading and new technology needs for the district, just makes us happy up. That's what we're all about, and giving back to the community, giving back to the school system. You can tell we have a passion for it, and we just can't thank you enough. And our new race is coming up October 27, and you'll be hearing from us for contributions for this year. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And next up is presentations and reports. Financial update, Ms. Woodruff.
Good evening, Chairman Carter, members of the school board, and Dr. Parrish. For the finance report this evening, I wanted to let you know that included in consent agenda item C is an appropriation for $78,408 to increase the FY19 budget for additional state revenue that was included in the budget adopted in June from the General Assembly special session. We are requesting that these funds be used to increase one school psychologist and one bus driver position from part-time to full-time. And beginning with fiscal year 2019, the federal Every Student Succeeds Act includes a provision requiring that all school divisions must report per pupil expenditures for each school for each year. And additionally, the state is changing the way we report the data for the annual school financial report. And as a result, we were required to revise our account code structure to meet these new requirements. And so we've been working for the last 2 months on this change. And therefore, you will find that your detailed finance reports are now organized by funding source and state location code. So there's a little bit of a change when you look at them. We've also been working over the last 2 months to close out fiscal year 2018 and prepare for the auditors. They have completed preliminary work and field work for the activity funds at each school, and they will return to the school board office mid-September to begin their final field work. We are also preparing to assist the schools with fee collection at open houses next week. As we have done in past years, parents will have the option to pay via credit card during the open house, which is the only time we accept credit cards at the school. Cash and checks will also be accepted during this time, and we encourage parents to pay their fees during the open house But if they would rather pay online, there is a link to the online school payment portal under student fees on our website. We also met with new teachers at orientation today, and benefits enrollment is now open for them to make their benefit selections. And I'm also working on the state-required annual school report for fiscal year 2018, which is due in September. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Very much. Next, operations update with Mr. Pappas.
Good evening, School Board Chairman Carter and Dr. Parrish. In the area of operations, this Friday, school bus drivers will be participating in the first of 2 required in-services where we go over a myriad of safety items and work through logistics for each school and dropping off and picking up. We also, in transportation, have sent out letters to the homes of all our K through 5 families. And in those letters, we're soliciting information relative to alternative pickups and drop-off locations. Basically, what that means is if a child is going potentially to grandma's house or to a daycare center, as opposed to the address, the stop assigned to the address where they live, we need to know that. And this makes for smooth pickup and delivery of our most precious assets, the students in our community. Thirdly, you may have noticed going up and down both Wythe Creek and Poquoson Avenue that the fire department has some electronic marquee signs. Well, working with them, they will modify those signs to encourage and remind all vehicles driving on Poquoson Avenue and Wythe Creek from August 30th through September 6th, which is just before school starts and a few days after, that if they see a stopped school bus, the law requires them to stop. And we hope that that helps remind people who may not have seen buses for a long time that that is the law. In food service, you may recall that last year, several weeks ago, we participated in a program actually called the Day of Action, where we fed all K through 5 students in their classroom for free. That happened, and that was very well received. We then followed up with a pilot program in the 5th grade of breakfast in the classroom, and I reported to you how that too was going very well. This year, we're expanding that throughout the entire elementary school. It'll start the first week after school starts, just so everybody can get settled there. We'll have that school covered, and then shortly thereafter, we will incorporate the same process, probably in October is the target date for the primary school. We just completed all of our summer cleaning and maintenance projects, so the schools are ready to go, and very proud of how shiny they are after having been deep cleaned and various projects completed. In the area of security and safety, PCPS received a grant to remove some tile and add a non-slip tile surface just inside the apron, if you will, of the entry foyer for the main section of the high school. When you go in, you'll notice them. It's a nice enhancement, and it's much safer, and obviously getting the grant to pay for that is a bonus. We also submitted a request for funding for the 2018-2019 school security grant. Now, as you know, we have received grant funding for each of the past 5 years that has enhanced our door entry access systems and the basic overall building security, and we anticipate hearing about that award in the next few weeks. And then today, I just found out that we actually received approval, and they will be wiring the funds for our EPA grant that we got for replacing a bus. And that concludes my operation. The report.
Questions, comments there?
I have a question. How much
Okay.
was the grant, the last one that you
It was
mentioned?
$20,000.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marcella. That is exactly what I was going to ask. Thank you, sir. And any public comment?
No, sir, we do not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Fox. I was just going to bypass you altogether. Instructional update.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Carter, Vice Chair Sheeler, members of the board, and Dr. Parrish. This evening, I'm going to share with you some of our SOL data, our timelines for the release of additional testing data, and some other instructional information with you. I am happy to report, we are excited to report, that based on the preliminary data that the Virginia Department of Education has provided, all of our schools are fully accredited, meaning that we have met all of the accreditation standards. So we are excited about that. In terms of timeline, it's going to be a little bit different this year because if you recall, we walked you through the new accountability and accreditation standards last year. So VDOE is releasing that information in increments for us. So right now we have some very preliminary information that we're sharing with you. In late September, we'll get more concrete and more in-depth information from VDOE, and we'll reference those school quality indexes that we talked about last year. You'll also get information about College Board and relating to our SATs and our AP scores for this past year. And then in early October, we'll look at graduation and dropout rates from the Virginia Department of Education. So over the next couple of months, we'll be providing you with more and more information about various indicators. This chart just shows you see one typically like this every year. So as a division, we have exceeded the state average in the areas of reading, writing, math, history, and science. You can see the state pass rates are on the far right, and the 2017-18 are our scores for this year. The state for last year is on the far right, and the state for this year is on the far left. And what you're seeing here are the combined rates. So for instance, for reading, you're looking at grades 3 through 8 and 11th grade, the combined percentage of students who passed all of those assessments this past year. Just a few highlights from English. Of the 7 reading tests that were taken by students this past year, all had pass rates higher than the state average, with pass rates varying between 88% and 95%. And the state average for the English pass rates is at 80%. Grade 3 reading saw an increase of 2 percentage points, with 31% of the students scoring in the pass advanced range. Grade 6 reading increased by 3 percentage points, with 23% of the students in the pass advanced range. And grade 11 reading pass rates are at 95%, and the writing pass rate is at 92%. We saw that 31% of our students scored in the pass advanced range for the writing SOL. In the area of math, as a division, we maintained an overall pass rate of 85%, with 17% of our students scoring in the pass advanced range. The state average for the math pass rates is at 78%, so you can see that we're above that. Grade 3 mathematics saw an increase of 2 percentage points, with 22% of the students scoring in the pass advanced range. Poquoson Middle School saw gains in grades 6, 7, and 8, with grade 7 seeing an increase in the pass rates of 10%. And at Poquoson High School, Geometry and Algebra 2 had pass rates over 84%. Science, just as a reminder that we give assessments not in every grade level, but in grade 5, grade 8, and then at the high school for end of course in earth science, biology, and chemistry. All 5 of these areas had pass rates of 89% or higher, with the highest being 96%. And the pass advance rates in biology this year increased to 25%. In social studies, again, not tested in every grade area, so we have grade 4 Virginia Studies, we have grade 8 Civics and Economics, and then at the high school, World Geography, World History 2, and Virginia and U.S. History. And again, all 5 of those had pass rates that were 91% or higher, with the highest tested being 95%. And the pass advance rate for Virginia Studies students was at 48%. Looking ahead, this is a busy year for us. We've had a lot of revisions to the standards of learning. So this year will be the first year that the newly revised math standards will be assessed. So in May of 2019, our students will have assessments that reflect the new standards. Our revised English standards were approved last year. This year is the crosswalk year for that, where teachers look at the old and the new standards, and then the following school year will be the first year that those new standards will be assessed. Science standards are being revised this year, so we'll look for those to be approved and then have a crosswalk year and then an implementation year for those coming. And just as a reminder, we still will have computer adaptive testing occurring in grades 3 through 8 for all students in reading and mathematics. That won't change. And then on a different note, just a couple of reminders about some things upcoming and what we've done this week. You heard a reference to our new employee orientation, which started yesterday and concluded today. A lot of energy in the room. You'll see that on Friday at convocation. All of our teachers and staff return tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. Again, our division-wide convocation is this Friday at 10:45 in the forum at the high school. And then our open house dates are listed there for you, and on our website is more information for parents about those open houses. We would just like to share with the parents of our primary school students that parking will be available, but it will be limited, so we just want to remind you that you can come at any time during that window for the primary school. You don't have to come at the beginning, that you can come at any time during the open house window. So feel free to wait an hour if you want and let some of the parking clear before you come. That concludes my evening update this evening, Dr. Carter. Thank you.
Very much.
I would
Dr.
like to
Fox.
just add to Dr. Fox's presentation that VDOE is releasing SOLs for pass rates tomorrow, so we are anticipating that it will be in the media, maybe online tomorrow, but certainly I would imagine would be by Thursday, I would think. So we wanted to get some of this data in front of you, but we do know that release.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments since the last time I asked? No, sir. Okay, thank you. Ms. Sheila, could you walk us through the consent agenda, please?
Yes, the consent agenda includes the following: approval of financial reports, approval of personnel action, authorization to change appropriation and to accept and expend funds in accordance with the attached request, approval of minutes of the June regular meeting and work session, approval of minutes of July special organizational meeting, and the authorization to dispose of surplus property.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Reimers, could you call for a vote, please?
Holcomb? Ms. Mosteller? Aye. Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And other matters for consideration. First up is consideration of approval of second reading of change to the policy manual. Dr. Parrish?
Yes, we brought forward these recommended changes to you for first reading at your June meeting. These are the changes that our school board attorney provides to us based on the action taken by the General Assembly. So it's in order to be aligned with new state code as of July 1st. So with that said, I recommend approval of the proposed school board policy changes that are being presented this evening.
Have a motion to approve such changes?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Any questions there? Thank you, Ms. Reimers.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Mosteller?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Ms. Sheeler?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
And next item, consideration approval of educational technology.
Yes, so attached here, what you have is the executive summary of the plan. You approved the division's educational technology plan as is required to occur, and we are now using a 2-year plan. So you may see it a little bit more often than you have in the past. It also allows our school division staff to make changes to it a little bit more easily with that shorter time frame, because as we know, technology is very fluid. So with that said, I recommend approval of the PCPS educational technology.
I have a motion to approve that plan. And second?
Second.
Any questions there? Reimers?
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Mosteller?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Ms. Sheeler?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
And last item, consideration of approval of personnel action.
Yes, we have pulled this item out of your personnel packet because the recommended person for the head JV football coach is married to one of our board members. So it enables her to abstain from the vote. She's not here this evening, Ms. Helsel, but it is still pulled as a separate item for you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
Any questions there? All right, Ms. Reimers.
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Mosteller?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Ms. Sheeler?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank
5-0, sorry.
Thank you. And communications, other matters, Dr. Parrish?
Yes, I just want to thank Mr. Pappas and all of his maintenance staff, as well as our custodial service, for the work they do during the course of the summer. They're still finishing up in some places, but for those of you who will be in our schools for the open houses and other events in the immediate future, I think you'll see that we are ready to go to welcome our students, and now tomorrow all of our teachers into our buildings. I also want to thank our Poquoson Education Foundation donation. It is certainly helpful, and I'm sharing this on vacation, but they have donated over $55,000 to our schools through grants, also to our students for scholarships and student grants for some of the travel they did for some competitions. So they really just do tremendous work for us and provide some very important funding for us. Dr. Fox had it on her screen, but again, a reminder that school does start on September 4th, so please know those of you that drive off to work or other places in the morning, buses will be back on the road, as will high school drivers. So I know it slows traffic down a little bit, so I just want to make sure you're prepared for that. My husband tends to mention that to me on the first drives to work. Also, a reminder to the community that we do now have school resource officers at our middle school and high school, and they are officially starting in our schools on Monday, the 27th. We've had meetings with them and with other members of our police department are excited to get them started with us and with our students and our families. And that is all I have for you this evening.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Holcomb?
Welcome back to everyone. I think that our excellent standards have already been met, as I met with the band on last Friday, which is way before school starts. I almost said Dr. Sproul. Doug Sproul, is he a doctor? I don't even know that. Maybe he's a doctor. Looks like it. They had the band ready to go. We watched half the presentation they'll do this Friday night for the first game. It was just impressive. So I think we're off to a great start. Looking forward to a great year.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Mosteller?
No comment.
And Jordan?
Best of luck to our new teachers that are starting. I guess they officially started today. So welcome to Poquoson City Schools. Good luck to all of our athletes that are getting ready to participate in their first athletic events as early as this week, and for the football team, etc. Most of those athletes have been going full steam since the summer started, and they've been practicing for weeks. So I'm excited to get out to the fields and watch us compete against other fellow teams in our league, and wish everybody a successful school year, and seniors don't get senioritis early. So.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sheeler?
I have nothing today.
I'd just like to welcome everybody back, and also welcome all of our new staff. And it's a good place to be, and we look forward to supporting you in your efforts this year. Students, step up to the bat, make it a good year. And do we have any material?
We do not this evening.
With that, we will adjourn for the work session.
I didn't have my